Hello, World Wide Web. Thanks for tuning into another episode of the Bridging the Gap podcast. Today I've got another special guest on, a good friend of mine. We met a few years ago at the Latam co-work space in Santiago, Chile, while I was participating in the Startup Chile Pre-Seed 18 Accelerator program, and I really appreciate having him in my circle. He's currently a program manager at Remote Year, and you'll hear soon about how he found his way into the company. I may have had a hand at showing him how deep the digital nomad rabbit hole goes. I'm really happy to have him as a guest on this podcast. I hope to have many more good friends and leaders and travel enthusiasts on this podcast. It's about digital nomadism, finding your ikigai, process through Kaizen, learning how to chase your dreams and become the best version of yourself that you can be. Without further ado, let's get into her.
You did. There you go.
I hope you appreciated every moment.
Man, only respect and love.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for joining me today. We'll try and take it slow here. I'd love to hear all the ups and downs and the the wins and the losses. But yeah, how you been? We last time we talked, when was it? It was like 2017. Last time I saw you in person, I was probably leaving Chile from what was it called? Cowork Latam.
Start, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Owned by Startup Chile.
Did they own that? That was their co-work
It
as
was
well?
I'm forgetting the word right now, but like it's they, you know how basically this is a project by the government, right? And the
Hmm.
government puts it out there saying like we're looking for this space, and Cowork Latam
Ah, so
participated. What's the
they
word?
like
Help me with
partnered.
that.
They were partners,
Yeah, it's a
founders,
business
co-founders.
partner. Yeah, it's like we have the money, we want to do this. Who has the best tools to do this? And
Hmm.
then you
Hmm.
participate that with other companies,
Yeah.
and then Cowork Latam won that one, and it's a
Hmm.
6 year
Ah, so it's
lease.
like a bid. They bid for it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's a 6 year, which means it's still going on.
Is it?
But
I'm
yeah,
out of the loop with them. Do you still chat with the people from that organization, or do you have them in your network?
only Instagram and what Instagram allows you to do. So basically,
Yeah.
react to a couple of things, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Oh man. So how much longer were you there after I left? I remember you putting out the word that you were looking for something new. Did
Yeah,
they
man.
how did it go after I left? Did things start getting boring or what?
um, I wanted something else. I think you know the story, but for the sake of um,
Yeah, for brevity.
this time, I'll share it. Yeah. So basically, I didn't know about Remote Year, who is my employer nowadays. But similar setup came to the same cowork where we met.
Hmm.
Um, and they're like, we're these digital nomads, we're coming in here, we want to use your co-working space for a month.
Hmm.
Um, we would like you to help us to introduce the rules of the co-working space to this new group here, and then basically support them for the month. Um, I remember these guys came. All people are like wearing flip flops, very digital nomad like,
Yeah.
shorts, singlets, and stuff like that.
And they were
People
making
were
you
talking
dress up probably. You had to wear a nice shirt and oh no.
and well groomed, and
Yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. So anyway, I remember giving that orientation on a Wednesday at like 11 a.m. and then 2 hours after, the guy who was on charge of this is like, Gert, amazing job. I'm going to the beach now. Thank you. I'll see you in a week. And I'm like, what? So yeah, and for those people that they had never been in Chile, the beach is at least 1 hour away. So this guy
Yeah,
was like completely like peace out
remote.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Was he actually
Um,
working, do you think? Or do you think was he just like straight up, that's he did his job for the week and I'll see you next week.
I think he had a very light work schedule.
Hmm.
And I think he did his job, and then he had the opportunity to go explore a little bit of Chile.
Yeah. Sweet. You mean
Um,
this was somebody who like was a participant in
no, no, this was someone who was working for
was
this company. Well, we can call it. I think the closest thing is what you might understand as a um,
program leader?
programs leader or a community leader.
Okay.
So basically, someone who sees the operations and makes sure everything goes cool, everyone is connected to Wi-Fi, and then
Hmm.
beach
So
time.
he gave you his job and then left.
Yeah. Uh, he explained what.
Government funded opportunities. Yeah, we won't say
Yeah,
anybody's
yeah.
names.
No. So then that happened, and I think I told you this story. It was like, hey, like this is crazy. And I don't know if it was on the same day or a couple of weeks after you reach out and say, hey, this is not the same company, but there's something called Remote Year.
Yeah.
Um, and they are thinking of opening a platform in Santiago, Chile,
Yeah.
where this entire story is happening. And you
Hmm.
said you should apply. And so I did.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So I went through Chile. That's they already had a program there. And somebody reached out to me because I'm half Chilean. They were like, "Hey, do you know anybody who would be good for this job?" And I immediately thought about you. I didn't send it to anybody else. I was like, "Yeah, I know somebody." And that was uh that was Casey. Casey sent me that. Did you I assume you talked to Casey
Yeah.
after me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
What kind of ropes did they put you through? Did they make it hard on you, or were you basically a shoe-in?
No, man. I mean, so I always appreciate this time. My parents were like, I was very antsy because the entire process was like 4 months of interviews.
Mm,
Um, that's basically like 5 interviews spread out through the 4 months.
right.
And first was Casey, then was I think Paulina back then, who
Hmm.
ended up being my manager,
Yeah.
and then
She's great. I miss her.
yeah, definitely, definitely. We can talk about her later, but I
Yeah.
owe so much to her as well.
Cool.
You guys, I think, are key points in the timeline.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think it was especially weird because my background was in operations, and when I heard about the two backends, that was experience manager and operation manager,
Hmm.
I knew what operations manager would mean. And I was
Hmm.
like, I'm not doing that. I'm not
You didn't
fixing
want that
toilets at
role?
3 a.m. No.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I want to go experience. And that kind of like made it a little bit more dragging in the interview process. They actually like kind of like offered me to lean that way. I was like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
thank you. I want to like do this other thing.
Yeah.
And and I was antsy because this thing was very dragging. And then I remember my parents saying like, there's no other person like well fitted for this position, and it ended
Yeah.
up happening.
Yeah. So did you take the operations role, or you just
No,
took it, or
no, no, no.
you got your foot in the door for the experience manager?
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't want to do the operations. I want to do experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so bad, especially after, the company was a couple years old by that point, so they had shit kind of figured out. Like for us, our first year, we were 9 out of 12 cities. We were the first people in the city, right? So, we were the constant feedback loop of like, this isn't working, this isn't working. But by the time you got in there, you're a couple of years on. So I'm sure, with the efforts of Paulina and crew, who are the other? I'm trying to remember who the other people were.
In
Um,
ops, you had Omar Diaz.
mhm. I don't
Um,
remember Omar's name. What was uh, Bernadette? Was it Bernadette?
I
Was
don't
there a
think I
Bernadette?
met a Brenda
No,
that no,
no. Okay,
no.
yeah, maybe she left after we left because
But
there was some butting
obviously
heads.
you
But
have employee number one, Will Gassenheimer.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's he's a constant for that company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I made a joke with him recently because there's like the 10th year anniversary is coming up. I'm like, well, let's do it. Let's do another
Yeah.
lap. He's like, let's do it. We'll be the geriatrics on the on the
10
tour. I'm like,
years.
I don't fucking care. I'm a child. I'm a child at heart. So so yeah, so it took 5 months. You guys had to go like I remember you had to go to like Mexico or something. Was that like interview number 4 or 5? What was that? Was that the last one or?
No, that actually happened. They booked, that was I don't know. It was like the welcoming to this new world, right? Like living behind the corporate jobs where like, like you have to be present this time or whatever time wearing
Mhm,
something or not. I signed the contract, and a day after they signed that ticket to fly me to Mexico City to do like this induction. At this point, I was already in.
mhm.
Um,
Okay.
so they flew me over there. I spent something like less than 2 weeks with Paulina, with the city team in Mexico, understanding what the
Mhm,
role was. Because I think for a lot of new employees of Remote Year, there's always this um, tax time, like to understand where is the line of like people as a client, am I their friend, I'm not their friend,
mhm,
where's this line of like
mhm.
how much can we interact or how much can I tell you kind of thing.
Yeah, I
So
remember those
that was
roles.
very, yeah, so that was very interesting to like
That's why we lost
learn.
Bernadetta.
I see,
She
I
didn't
see.
she didn't know the lines. I think that's her
Yeah,
name. Maybe
yeah.
it's not. Better maybe better that she has a code name.
We're gonna call her that for the sake of this call.
Cool, man. And so when was your first group?
So this is
Was
we're
that
talking October 2018. The first
mhm,
group came February 2019. So
okay.
on that note, I had
You started
the
like probably you were like mirroring other groups probably. Like you would join in and you wouldn't be the experience manager, but you would be next to an experience manager and seeing how they were operating. Did you hop on
that
to
that was
other groups?
no, that was only
No.
Mexico for these 12 days,
Okay. Oh,
and so
gotcha.
a very short glimpse kind of thing. And then I had like around 3 months to prepare the city, the platform, right? Like offering this,
Mm.
offering that, and what you guys know about, like, well, not for you guys, but nowadays marketplace.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I remember the first group came. It was 44 people. February, February in Chile is the middle of summer,
Yeah.
heat wave, no AC, so that was
Oh
great.
no.
Um, and I remember people were they were not buying what I prepared for them.
Oh no.
Because the thing is, like, I was told build up the city as like you are receiving your friends over. So I was like,
Mhm.
cool, we're gonna go rock climbing and surfing and like all of this like kind of like rad
Mhm.
activities. And then I learned that like the big chunk of remotes are not that kind of people. They want something a
Yeah.
little bit more
They're like
easy on
city
them
people.
usually.
This is
Yeah,
like turnkey traveling. Like it's like I might as well not be at home if I'm gonna work from home, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
but
So
nobody was interested. Like we totally had like a lot of people were interested in surfing and climbing, but we might have just been lucky in that regard.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was a terrible seller back then or something like that. But like they didn't sell. These
Yeah.
activities they need to hit minimum numbers and stuff like that. Maybe the minimums were too high, but it didn't happen.
Hmm.
So then, even though I spent those 3 months trying to build the city, then I had to spend another like 2 months trying to rebuild
Redo
it
it.
because,
Yeah.
yeah, like so to find that perfect mix where like everybody feels like, oh, I have something to do.
Hmm.
That was fascinating. Learn a lot though.
Hmm. So what did you come up with as your experiences?
Yeah, so as you well know, Santiago has the 4 seasons. So what it was interesting is like by the time I was done with the summer version of Marketplace, winter was already there.
Hmm.
So in short, it took me one entire year to like tune everything and have like options for summer and options for winter.
Hmm.
At the end, very proudly, Santiago reached top 3 in sales across the board
Hey,
for remote year.
nice.
And we were fighting always with or competing with Cape Town, which is an all-time favorite of remotes,
Yeah,
um,
totally.
and Mexico City, which was is
Hmm.
also an all-time favorite. So it's like, okay, we're doing something great here. And
Sweet.
what did we have there was obviously there was some like icebreakers at the beginning and like welcoming
Hmm.
people and this random stuff. But on Marketplace, one of the coolest ones, and I remember I put it on the first Friday because it was a very well designed trip.
Yeah.
Um, so I knew if I could sell that one on the first Friday, they will buy everything
Hmm.
for the other weeks, right?
Yeah.
Which was
Smart.
it's a little bit of a drive. So you go up the Andes towards Argentina.
Hmm.
You drive for like 3 hours. You stop here and there. You eat, munch a couple things here and there. You can see how the scenery changes. But the cherry on top is basically you reach these natural hot springs
Mm.
up in the mountain. And if you go in winter, you go AM. So you are basically you get these pictures in natural hot springs with a
Hmm.
massive like backdrop
Hmm.
on the snow with glasses of wine and cheese.
Yeah.
And if you do it in summer, was during the nighttime. So basically, you're doing the same thing, no snow, but you have like the sky and the stars like all over you.
Amazing.
Um, yeah. So people will like be stressed going up and then coming back like fully relaxed.
Yeah.
So that was the first Friday. That was very cool. Um, Another thing that people loved a lot was a pisco sour making class.
Tasting? Oh, making. Okay.
Yeah. So what was cool was I made it a two-part event, right? One was one very early in the morning before people will start working, and the second part was after people finish working. Um,
Hmm.
the cool thing was like I don't know if you remember, there's La Vega, which is the biggest central market, like groceries
Hmm.
market,
Yeah.
like a bazaar basically. In Santiago, it was closed from the platform back then.
Yeah.
I'll take them over there. I'll tell them the story about basically La Vega, and then I'll give them money, cash, and a list of things, and I'll just like let them go and fetch all of the ingredients that we might need for later, right? People will love it.
Yeah.
In La Vega, no one
It's
speaks
like a
English, but
grocery. It's like a scavenger hunt, right?
basically,
Nice.
and it was funny because like at first I gave them like $20 to a group. They brought like cheese for like an army. Uh, so then I had to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway,
You
by the
realize
end
you're
of the
kind of
day,
dealing with children a little bit. They're like, oh, yay. They're
exactly,
like
and
adults in a cheese shop as kids in a candy store, dude.
yeah. But that should be the 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 title. Um, but yeah, no one speaks English in La Vega, so basically there's a lot of like good vibes going on, and of course
Yeah.
they see gringos with a big note, and
Yeah.
it's like no, I'll add more, and some people will like even flirt with the remote and like
Yeah.
give them more because they were like engaging and all
They
of that
want
sort
them
of
to
stuff.
come back, you know, they want them to have a good
Exactly.
experience. Good service. It's just good service.
That's that's what it is. So long story short, at the end of that, the first part, I'll grab everything that these guys collected and bring it home. They will keep on doing with their life or the
Yeah, yeah.
working day, and in the meantime, I was preparing everything. So I'll like chop the cheese and stuff like that. So prepare for them when they come. And then they will come to my place. Back then, I was living with a friend with an epic terrace
Nice.
overlooking the skyline of Santiago, and we'll receive them and do a pisco sour
Okay.
master cooking. Sorry, drink like class workshop basically.
Like a
And
like a cocktail party, you could call it.
exactly, and people loved it. It's only 6 ingredients, and it's very easy to do. They will walk in, and I'll serve them a shot of pisco right away, like just for
Hmm.
them to like to understand what's the flavor of pisco. It
Yeah.
was magical because 15 minutes after they were already on and they were like
They were
already
all
having a
like,
blast. Yeah.
yeah, they were warmed up.
Um,
So let's
Yeah.
how do you make a pisco sour? What are the 6 ingredients? How do you do it?
Yeah. So you need ice, very important. Um, you could use lemon or lime. I will buy both and actually press,
Okay.
get the juice
Mix
of
it
both of
together.
those.
Mhm.
You need amargo or bitters. Not many people are aware of bitters, but basically it's the small bottle that it stains a lot. It actually has a very high alcohol content,
Okay.
but you just use it for garnishing.
Bitters.
Um,
Bitters, you say. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
bitters.
Mhm.
And then you need egg white. The original
Mhm.
recipe actually
Right.
uses you crack an egg, but back then what I did is I found something called albumina, which is basically dehydrated egg white. It makes it a little bit more easy to try. I mean,
Mhm.
for the obviously the pisco.
Mhm.
What am I missing? Is that five?
The sugar. The
Amargo,
sugar in it?
the sugar,
Yeah.
exactly. So
It's
we
not
call
my
it
first
goma.
pisco.
Of course not. Um, it's a syrup. Usually the syrup
Yeah.
is better because rather than sugar because it helps to
Yeah, yeah.
build the body of the drink.
Mhm.
And basically you
Yeah,
put all together, you shake it, and
yeah.
you serve it.
And for the
It's
eggs,
delicious.
if
And
you
then
if you wanted to do it, you have to just you separate the yolk, right? You just use the whites
yes,
and you get
yes,
a blender and you just blend it until you have like a meringue, and then you
yeah.
can just put that a tablespoon on top of the drink, and then you have this beautiful cocktail that
Man,
makes everybody
I'll
happy.
suggest it
And there's
for anyone
and
to make
there's
it.
there's protein as well, so it's like a little bit of a meal and a drink.
Yeah,
It helps
it's
you
not
survive
vegan.
the night. It's
Yeah,
not vegan. It's vegetarian though.
it is
Um,
vegetarian.
cool, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How what else did you come up with?
Those two were very cool. I was very new to this, honestly, because like this
Hmm.
was just starting in Santiago. Actually, this came
Hmm.
from a suggestion again from Paulina. We built
Hmm.
up two,
Did you get any
how would
abuelitas
you call
making
them?
empanadas or like?
Oh, actually, that's a good one. No, you know about mapuches, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What can you say anything about mapuches, or
The
you want me to help you with
local,
that?
the native community in Chile are known as Mapuche.
That's correct. So basically, the cool fact about these guys is they have never been conquered, and at this point in life, they will never be.
Yeah.
These people were there in Chile before anybody else, even before the
Hmm.
Incas.
Hmm.
Um, and they're very rich in culture. They believe in the land and how they treat everything.
Hmm.
Um, I got to meet a Mapuche chef,
Okay.
and what
Oh.
we did, yeah, actually, this is part of the like how cool the first week was. She was coming on orientation day on the first day with samples of what she will make.
Hey.
So we're talking about Santiago, what to do, what not to do, and then she will pop in and say like very small, like little words in English, and I'll like
Hmm.
introduce her and say like this is actually one of our vendors, and she brought
Yeah.
you some sampling, and people were buying that thing like
Yeah.
on the spot.
Sweet.
Yeah,
What did they
exactly.
have?
And
What did they have?
the actual meal or this sampling?
The samples. Like what was the hook? What was the worm on the hook?
Sopaipillas?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, sopaipilla is like a flat
It's like
fry bread.
yeah. It's like a donut
Um,
that's made with squash.
exactly. It's mostly salty, and so she will add this like
Mm.
pebre or pico de gallo,
Uh-huh. No chancaca?
and then some noche and cac. Actually, yes, she brought some sometimes, but she was focused on the salty part.
Okay.
Um, and then some
Chancaca
like roasted potatoes.
for brevity is just like this really dense brown sugar, and you basically make like a syrup with it, and then you soak the sopaipilla in it, and you get like because the sopaipilla is salty, and you get this really sweet like sauce that's on it, and the sopaipilla is like because it's fried, it's a little bit tough, and so it breaks the toughness of it. And it's something that whenever it was a rainy day at home and the kids were around, it was something that we would have. And
Yeah.
sometimes we still ask for it when we go to mom's
Yeah.
house. So
Like that's a given. If it is raining, you get sopaipillas.
Yeah. It's a way to
Yeah,
just like keep the kids under wraps. They're getting their treats, and they'll stay quiet in front of the TV or whatever while mom makes a paella.
exactly, exactly.
Sweet, man.
So actually, that experience, what was cool was like it was a dinner with her,
Yeah.
and basically she will prepare everything in advance. You will come to her place, and she will be wearing the proper Mapuche
Yeah.
dressing or
Outfit.
whatever it
Yeah.
is and
Yeah.
outfit, and welcome you with like a little like welcoming dance and music kind of thing, and then
Hmm.
you will go sit down in the table and sample three
Hmm.
courses that they were based on Mapuche
Hmm.
gastronomy. People loved it, and you
Yeah.
get to talk to her, so you learn like I don't know. She was meant to be
History
married at
and
13,
yeah.
and how
Okay.
she quote unquote escaped that and moved to Santiago to
Huh.
actually study culinary. Fascinating,
Cool.
actually. Yeah,
Cool. Cool. Did you
yeah.
take them to the Piojera?
I did, I did. So
Empanada
actually, that,
tour?
that was no, no. So La Piojera, that was either a love or hate kind of like event,
Yeah.
because um, help me here with the pronunciation, but La Piojera is basically a house of lice,
It's a
right?
lice. It's
Like
a lice.
a
Yeah.
exactly. So for people to understand, basically, this place is located in the center of Santiago, so basically brings
Isn't it next to
both.
La Vega? Isn't it next to the
Yeah, like
market?
across
Yeah.
the river, the Mapocho River. Um, Basically, it congregates people that they have money and people that they don't have money, and basically people go there because it's very authentic Chilean. Um,
The trembrol.
so
Trembrol. How do you say it? Tembor.
terremoto.
Terremoto. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Terremoto.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God. This is a drink and a half. Oh.
yeah. Exactly.
Again, you love it or hate it.
That's true. So basically, I'll take them over there, tell them the story behind La Viejera. If you're interested, hit me up. I'll tell you everything about it. But
We could talk about it
once
after.
they
Go ahead.
understood, they understood what was La Viejera, I also made a simile with the Chilean history of earthquakes because
Mm.
of terremotos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically how earthquakes have shaped how Chileans behave and the structure of Chile. Um, you see any country like going through a 7 point something earthquake in the Richter scale, and uh, sadly, a lot of people get like I don't know affected
They
by
get
it, or
stuck.
people
Yeah.
die or stuff like that. In Chile, like nothing really happens. Maybe the metro system stops for 15 minutes, and then everything keeps on moving. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously, that's not something that happened from the day to the night or the night to the day. It's basically an entire history. It's over 200 years as a country of receiving earthquakes basically monthly or something like that. So I did that signal between our history with earthquakes and then earthquakes the drink. And we went inside, and I'll order. I don't know if you know, Rick, but like there's four of them, like four different kinds.
I didn't know that. I've only had maybe two of them. I probably had two.
And then you don't remember this.
No, after two, you forget the rest of the night. You want to forget the rest
Yeah,
of the night.
one is good for you to like start
Yeah.
forgetting stuff. I might forget, but like basically it's four different colors. The first one
Yeah.
is the terremoto, which is basically
Isn't it like cream
all of
soda?
no, so it has pineapple ice cream.
Okay.
Um,
Pineapple
and
ice
then
cream.
has
Okay.
yes, and then has unfiltered wine.
Okay. Right.
In
Right.
most
Right.
of the cases, is this white wine,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, like cherry cordial or granadina,
Mm-hmm.
um, and basically that's the mix. They fill it to the rim. It's hard to drink. This is, by the way, La Piojera is like a place that you don't take anyone on the first date,
No,
or
yeah. It's
maybe on the
when
10th
you
date.
first go in there, you're like, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Oh my God.
Exactly, exactly,
It's
and it's
like
not
it's
only
it looks like a shanty. Like it looks like it's literally been there since the 1800s because it has. And it hasn't
it has
been exactly renovated to make it look nicer or impress anybody. You go there and the people are who impress you, you know? And it's a very no frills kind of place. It doesn't the terremoto have ice cream in it as well?
The pineapple ice cream.
The
Yeah, yeah,
pineapple does. Right, right, right.
yeah, yeah. So well, anyway, it's an experience. People are like freak out at the beginning until they start sipping the
Yeah, you get a
terremoto. That usually
table, you
helps.
have your corner, you have a safe space with your people. You know, there's
Yeah,
guys walking around. He's like playing an instrument and singing very loudly, and you can't help but just join him, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And then the whole
No,
room
and
starts singing along, and like it's you know, you're one of the people when you're there, you know?
exactly.
It's a great place.
They invite you to participate, and it's fascinating. Um, anyway, so just to finish with the earthquakes, so
Yeah, yeah.
there's four, right? Like the first one is called earthquake, the second one is called aftershock,
Hmm.
the third one is a tsunami,
Okay,
and the
right.
last one it's a blackout.
Okay. These are all the terrors of Chile.
They happen all in a row, and so if you
Yeah.
survive, you're a truly Chilean.
If you have one after the other and you still walk home standing up straight, you're a local. You
Yeah,
belong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, that's
La
amazing.
Piojera
I
was a lot
gotta,
of fun.
I gotta,
Go on.
I gotta wonder. You know, why didn't you ask me when you were building your programs about my thoughts on it? Like, you took a shot in the dark. You literally had like a you know, a test user who's done the experience who could tell you, listen, all you have to do is make it a good Instagram post and people will show up, you know.
Yeah,
And yeah, it probably would have made it a lot easier on you if we had that conversation.
you know what? You're so right, and I never thought about it. I think I was so caught on it that like I
Yeah.
was not thinking outside of the box, and that's kind of like a personal trait that I have. I
Mm.
sometimes I get too focused on whatever I'm doing that I forget that I have like like other sources.
Hmm.
um, and I've learned that. And usually, the
Mm.
only time that I actually start reaching out to other sources is when I already somehow feel comfortable with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like
Ah, yeah.
yeah, I'm very very much like that. Because I don't know if I told you, but I just moved to Lisbon,
Oh yeah.
and
Cool.
that has been an entire adventure because like I do have my basic Portuguese to get by, to go to a
Yeah.
restaurant and order something or whatever, use the metro system. But another different thing is start to sign your electricity bill and your water bill, and then they use very specific words. And me, rather than like seeking for help, I just went through the process, like like I don't know, like I think I could have used some help from third people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you realize it. That's a huge step in doing something about it, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell me about the history that or did we go through that? Is that what we were talking? The history of the Piojera?
Oh, I can tell you for sure. So I don't remember the years, but for context, just like NY, what is it like PDI? What is it? The FBI. Just for you guys, like the
Mm.
FBI, we have our own. It's called PDI, by
The
the
PDE,
yeah, exactly, the PDI, PDI.
PDI? Yeah.
PDI. Um, so basically, long story short, this is back then, like I don't know, maybe 6 presidents ago or 7 presidents ago. Um, the government and the PDI were working together to, like bust, I don't know, whatever.
This is during the
It was
Pinochet
an
era or after?
no, this is even before. This is even
Before.
before. So basically, um, they accomplished something big, and the top tier or the top head of the PDI wants to invite the president back then, Alessandri, to celebrate to a specific place. and the PDI guy or head decides to take the
Mhm.
president to La Piojera, which
Okay.
back then, you understand now, which back then I think the name was Bar Nacional or National Park,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
Um, don't quote me on that. But the thing is, like, the guy walks into the place, and the first thing that he says is like, "Why did you bring me to this Piojera?" Uh, the name like
Oh, so he named it. He named
he
it.
named it. He coined it basically, and the place was like, "Heck
That's so
yeah, this is
great.
happening.
This
This
is
is what it
amazing.
is." Yeah, yeah. So that's it.
That's so good. Why did you bring me to this house of lies?
Literally,
Ding! Put it
money
on the
maker.
wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
And
man,
I think there's a picture of the guy over there as well.
that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. So, how many groups did you have come through under your? Obviously, you're not doing that role anymore. You're doing some other role.
Yeah. So I honestly don't know, Rick. There's certain things that I don't keep track on. I don't remember how many groups I had. I also people ask me how many countries have I visited. I don't know. That's not
Yeah,
something that like worries me.
so you count. Yeah.
Um, but February 2019 to March 2020.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I had groups every single
Yeah.
month,
Yeah,
and
because
there
it's like
were
kind
other
of
months.
seasonal, right? In Chile, they do it seasonally a little bit.
At the beginning was, but then thanks to the marketplace that we were talking before, it was like such a success that they were still
Uh,
sending people
you
over.
started doing it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I had a summer and a winter marketplace.
Hmm.
But then there were other months where we received two groups at the time. You know,
Oh
when
wow,
like
when they
programs like
converge. Yeah,
exactly, and remotes usually love it because they can like
yeah,
get an idea of what is happening from the
yeah.
other side.
And you get like some
Yeah,
fresh people. Like if you, we were had 12 months with the same people. We're like, oh my god, I have to travel with these people forever. And
yeah,
no disrespect to you, like they're your family, but you're just like, it's nice to have some fresh blood in there and some new people to talk to. And we did that in Phnom Penh in Cambodia. We had
cool.
two groups. We had Batuta, which was the second group, and we were the fourth group. And so, like, we all kind of started not knowing if it was even real, and then, and then having a month. It was Christmas too, right? So we had like a
Oh,
big
look at that.
Christmas with like it was over 100 people, like upwards of 120, 130 people, and that made it an interesting month. But yeah, and then even like even in the later months where there were people who were doing citizen months, I remember in Argentina that I almost exclusively hung out with my neighbor who was from Cousteau, and she and I would do all kinds of things together. I'm just like I'm done with these guys. And we'll go for what is choripan, choripan
Yeah,
every day. And in Argentina they do it up proper, right? They have all the little pickled thing and
yeah,
completo
yeah.
in where was it, in Cordoba. I was like, yes, I'm doing this every day. Who wants to come? And like, okay, let's it's
Yeah.
a one-on-one. Have little one-on-one opportunities with them. But yeah, you got to have fresh blood in there every once in a while. They don't really do the year so much. They're still doing. They have like 1 or 2 yearly programs going at once,
Yeah,
or
that has that's a very interesting phenomenon that we have seen. You're right. Back then, so you obviously know this, but like back then, the only product was the year, right? Um,
Mhm.
and that means a lot in many different ways. But by the time a couple of months before COVID hit, we Remote Year decided to launch the 1 month option,
Mhm.
um, which
That was right before COVID. Oh shit.
it was I remember that we had a couple programs that they were the first 1 monthers ever, and then COVID happened. Um, but this is for discussion. You might like it or not, but one we call it one monthers. One monthers have taken a lot of the show or the
Pressure.
light or the weight of
Mm-hmm.
a remote year. So basically, nowadays, to answer your question, our product, our most popular product is the 1 month, and
Mm-hmm.
that has had attacks on the 12-month situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's definitely lesser or fewer
Fewer, yeah.
12-month programs compared to back then.
Yeah. And that's a shame because it's really part of the experience. Like it's such like for me, it was such an essential part of it being something like super unique. And like you really grow after the third month. We always talked about it being the hump. After the
Yeah,
hump, things like change because there's like
yeah,
the first few months, you're not just meeting new people and you just like have 70 new friends that you have to get to know, but you
yeah,
also kind of learn about yourself a lot, and like you put yourself into these social situations because everybody's there and you want to be a part of it and you don't want to get FOMO. But at the same time, like you know, we all like go into social situations with this like best version of ourselves. And when you're with the same people every day, those walls kind of those curtains fall, and like
yeah,
the weaknesses in yourself start to become at the front of the front seat all of a sudden,
yeah,
and you have to grow through it, and you will. Sometimes it'll happen fast because you're emotionally intelligent and you get it, like this is something that is not good about who I am or what I am. And some people straight up left, like in our group there were a couple people who were like, they're in front of your face, they were this guy, and then behind the scenes, like, things were happening and people were talking about it. Like there's nothing to hide behind. You're like, you live in a small town all of a sudden, where there's no secrets.
yeah,
And and yeah, either you face it and you be vulnerable and you be like, I fucked up, I realized that, I'm gonna be better, or you just run away.
yeah.
And either way, the group knows the reality, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm with you. I've never done I as neither as a customer or as an employee. I've never done the 12-month, but
Yeah,
I'm a fully supporter of that specific
yeah.
product. And it's if you ask me, like obviously it's great that we are offering the 1 month because more people
Mhm.
can get a sample of what this is. But if I could recommend anything, is at least do the 4 month,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
if not, go for the
Because
12
you
month
get over the
because
hump. You get over the hump,
exactly,
you know.
exactly.
And I like there were four. So I was in Sofia after Startup Chile. So 2018 in April, I went to Sofia to start my business, and we had summertime groups. So there was like I think it was the last summer that Sofia was a city in 2018.
Yeah.
And so there were like four groups that came by, and I was like an an experienced leader because I would do banitsa workshops and I would invite them to do like karaoke and like did all kinds of stuff. I would just throw it out there. Hey, I'm a past participant. I was in group 4, early adopter, blah blah blah. Come do this stuff with me. And I would always have like a small group of people who would do the things with me. And where was I going? Oh yeah, so they were some people who were like a little bit introverted, and they stayed in the program because of me, because of my talking to them, because they wanted to leave. They're like, oh, I think I'm gonna leave after this month, blah blah blah. I'm like, these people are your family. They're gonna be in your life for the rest of your life. Don't leave them before the end of month 3, because like in month 4 you're gonna like they're like a part of of your your essence from then on, and
Yeah.
you're gonna go on, and you guys are gonna get in, rent villas in Bali and like go there and then go here, and it's just like you don't want to abandon that because
Yeah.
it's like the if you just look at the program for what the marketing tells you, you're not really understanding the
What
value
it
of it.
is. Yeah.
It's like saying, "Oh, I go to university just for the diploma."
Right.
You don't. You go to university because you find people who also are good enough to get into that university. You also go to that university so you can say you go to that university. You go to that university so that you can have that, that networking opportunity with all those people. A lot of people find their like forever partners in that in that program because you like finally find somebody else who's aligned with your life. How
Exactly.
hard is it to find like the right relationship as a remote person? Like you're sitting at home all the time, and like how are you going to meet somebody,
Exactly.
and be aligned. This person's from the East Coast and I'm from the West Coast, and like you'll never meet that person any other way, and then all of a sudden you're like you can be anywhere and do
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
How do you find those people? Like you need to go through that grind and have that experience. It's like going through a war in a way with somebody because
Yeah.
they're there with you the whole time, and if you walk away from that experience and that person's still there, man, you have your forever person, and it's
It's
amazing.
true.
And
Um,
they don't sell that. We're doing better selling marketing, selling remote year probably than remote year does most of the time. But when we first did it, Meredith was our community leader, and she had this idea of like calling it like a travel MBA, because you learn how to become a traveler, you learn how to be respectful of local cultures, you learn how to be a responsible traveler and not a tourist, and to appreciate the country that you're in when you're in it. And it's true, you learn so much by going through it, and you can't get that experience when it's a 1 month, because it's the same as you just taking a vacation. Somebody just it's like going to a travel agent and be like, I want to go to Lisbon for a month, because you don't because you're not super invested in that year and you have to spend all that money. Like when you spend money on something, you need to do what you can to take the value out of it, because it's like, what's the difference between a free experience and one that you pay for? Is like when you pay for it, you want maximum value out of it, and the place isn't the value. It's not the destination, it's the journey, and it's the things that you experience along the way with all those people. And it's really, yeah, I get I get that the 1 months like make the business more viable. Totally makes sense. But anybody who's listening to this, like, and you can do it, fucking give it a shot. Give the 4 month a
yeah.
shot if you don't think you can do the year. But just fucking take the leap and do the year. And hopefully you get a group of people who do the year with you and get over the hump with you. Because after that, you got a a family forever, whether it's dysfunctional or not. Like I'm saying all this because it's true. It's true. I don't talk to them very much, just random tags or something, or share certain things. And I really, most of my group are Americans, and so there's like, I don't go to the US, I never see them, but if I do go to the US, the first thing I'm doing is calling those people, and having a night with them, and like catching
Exactly.
up. And just the fact that that's there waiting for me for what I'm gonna get emotional thinking about uh um you know I wish I could redo that year. It was good.
Yeah. That's. I agree with you 100%. And you're right. It's not about the product. The end product is the journey, as you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Um, and I agree with you. Like it's something. people, you're right. People have to decide to do, I'm gonna do something epic, and that epic could be that year. But like with everything you said, right? The ups and downs and the dysfunctional family. And I want to summarize it very simple. If you do the
Yeah.
year, it means you're gonna enjoy your birthday with a bunch of unknown in a random
Everybody's
country.
birthday. Oh my God, everybody's birthday. 70
Exactly.
birthdays you're gonna celebrate that year. 70. No,
Exactly.
they're not 70
Exactly.
anymore, but like, and the way we did it is like the person whose last birthday it was, they have to plan the next birthday.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and so to totally your birthday experience was totally based on like total random selection of like when your parents hooked up.
Exactly. Exactly. um,
And it was fun because it was never gonna be the same thing. So
that's
shit.
that's a story to tell.
I didn't expect to get emotional on this call. What happened to so what happened in COVID? What was the
Oh,
energy?
maybe I'm gonna get emotional now. Man, that was a very interesting time. So anyway, January, February 2020, remote year feels like a well-oiled machine. At this point, we have 12 cities for the 12 months, and they're all like, like moving. It's like it was very inspirational because we were like all giving kind of like the best of us, and then this thing started happening in Asia and starts coming over. And back then, we all thought it was 2 weeks. And maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but basically there was this last, like kind of like last call, like all hands kind of thing.
Yeah.
And uh, there's details you can see right away. The chat box was closed for that for that call. I think only the speakers could actually say anything. All of
Yeah.
our faces were there, and you can see key people in the screen, like all with this sad face, basically.
Yeah.
And then they say like, uh, "Well, we're shutting down," and
Yeah.
like kind of like this is it. Um, I'm going back to Paulina, and I'll never forget this. And this taught me how to. I truly believe in tough love. And immediately after that call, she called all of her team. It was like 12 of us there, and she goes like, "That was kind of like sugar coated. I just want you to know that like don't don't think about remote year. Don't wait for this. Go out there and find a new job because this thing is not coming back," kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
remember it hurt a lot,
Hmm.
but I appreciate it because it was a year. It was a year of nothing.
Hmm.
Um, in a more personal matter, the RY salary for what I study was very good in Chile. So it was the very
Hmm.
first time I was like, making numbers. And before that, I had a very average salary. Um, I was I was actually like building something up with other friends, and like it was everything basically kind of like interconnected. And then from one week to the other one, everything like shuts down.
Hmm.
I felt very bad with myself. I felt very stupid. I was like, how are you so dumb that you study? By the way, I studied tourism and hospitality.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you so dumb? Like, this is the last thing people spend money on is vacation, right? That's
Hmm.
uh that's a disposable like budget that people have, right? Um, so dark times. And I actually started doing something. I tried to start my own business. It started very slow. It taught me a lot of stuff. And a year after, do you know Josh Andrew?
Josh Andrews. I don't by name. No.
Yeah. Anyway, he it was March 2021. He uploaded a story to his Instagram saying like, "I'm taking a flight. Guess where?" Like very kind of like participating kind of thing.
Santiago.
I, that's what I said. And he's like, no, but we should talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, by the way, I met him. So just for people to understand, Josh did a year as a remote, just like you.
Yeah.
Um, he he said that similar to you was very transformative. Like once he tested the waters, he was like, I'm not going back to corporate. Um, and then he ended up applying to be a community leader or a
Okay.
program leader.
Okay.
And we met in Santiago when he was launching his program. July, I don't remember. I guess July 2019 or June or July, something like that. And we became friends back then. The thing is, like, fast forward to COVID, or the end of COVID, he was rehired by Remote Year to take care of program side, and he
Oh,
offered me to come
a
back.
little.
Um,
Okay.
so
Sweet.
he said like, bad news, good news, and I'm like, what's up? Bad news is Santiago is not coming back.
Entrepreneurship can be a lonely and overwhelming journey. I started my first company in 2003, more than 20 years ago. Most of the challenges that an entrepreneur faces, I can deeply relate to. The tough conversations, the hard decisions, the setbacks, the personal sacrifices, the feelings of isolation, the mental exhaustion, the anxiety. Being a company leader means that persistent problems eventually end up in your lap. And as a founder, those problems are everywhere. When the mud hits the fan, guess who everyone looks to for answers? The issues often seem to have obvious solutions in isolation, but they are less so in the context of a specific business, team, and stakeholder environment. And they usually come with decisions. Real decisions are hard because something's got to give. The stream of constant problems and decisions can be exhausting. Eventually, it will reveal personal questions that are nagging below the surface. Questions closely related to our hopes, desires, fears, needs, or beliefs. Why am I doing this and what for? The initial passion is gone. By now, it feels like a constant rat race to hit milestones. Is this what I'm to be doing for the next few years? How do I grow, transform, and build a life of meaning? On that lonely journey, it's hard to find somebody to trust and to speak with openly. And yet, there's hardly anything more effective than taking moments of reflection, structuring challenges, and prioritizing well for the business, but also for your personal journey. That's why we're building a new fractional CXO community called the Golden Ticket Club, a way for them to be a part of a kind of council of peers. Having someone to call on and doing regular check ins helps to talk things through, make better decisions, and to keep calm during the storm. That's also why we have built this new kind of business model that we're calling Fractional Leadership as a Service, an equity collective that allows fractionals to have more agency, to have a platform to grow into, and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. But ultimately, to help solopreneurs see their dreams become a reality. At Rad Studio, we help lift you from the top instead of pumping you up from the bottom. In the next few weeks, on Mondays, I'll be doing AMAs to talk to fractionals, to introduce them to this community, and to show them how to potentially join our equity collective. Our plan is to launch a new product every year. We have 3 products in the equity collective now that have 23 open seats, and we're looking for 8 leaders for each one. We hope that we can prove this business model with some really excellent leaders. Stay tuned. Cool.
So after those very informative sponsors,
Hey. Josh
thank you
Andrews,
for
good
having
news,
us
bad
here.
news?
Good news, bad news. Bad news, Santiago is not coming back. Good news is, do you want to travel? And after a year of doing pretty much nothing, isolated, I was like, heck yeah, I'll do anything for remote year. I'll sweep the floor for you guys if that's
Mm-hmm.
available. And so I was rehired. But then I did. This is when you have to eat your own shoe. I remember received my third group in Santiago, and someone asked me if I would like to be a community leader. I say I'll never do that job. Um, and I had to eat my shoe. There was a pandemic had to happen for me to say yes, I will do it. And I did the first program after COVID, 4 months through Latam.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 24 people started, 21 finished it,
Mm-hmm.
and that was that was challenging. Not only because of what the actual role requires, but this was a group of people who were isolated for a year. You know,
They were all
number
super
two, dude,
antisocial. Like, oh
dude,
man, you had to
dude,
like train them like little puppies how to be human again.
dude. Herding cats. It's a small, like, way to put it.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but also, by the way, I love them to death.
They were
Like
probably
if
really
any,
excited though too, like to like finally be out of their house and like allowed to go to bars and have a drink and eat a meal in front of other people.
yeah, and a lot of income. Like a lot of
Yeah,
money to like burn because
yeah,
and I feel like back then people were in a different mindset. Like this feeling like we're like, dude, the world can end tomorrow, so I better like just like
yeah,
go all out,
yeah. They were
right?
going all
Uh,
in. Yeah, it was turning up. It was
exactly.
turned up, as we say in the in the
Like
community.
everything was max,
Max.
yeah,
Yes,
like
I'll do that. Yes, I'll surfing. Sure. Snowboarding. Sure. Rock
give it to me.
climbing. I hate heights. Let's go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Not only that, that's the emotional and the human side of everything. But like on top
Yeah.
of everything, then you have the curfews and everything kind of like shut down
Uh,
and everything with masks. Like traveling from one country to the other one was insane. Like requiring like visa
mhm,
situations, and the actually
yeah.
that group invented. This sounds like so old, but that group and was the reason why remote year had to like call it and say that the company will only accept customers that they were vaccinated.
hmm Because of the
Which
PCRs and stuff, like having to do
yeah,
PCRs and shit.
it was an insurance situation, and like
Mhm.
how to take care of each other
Oh,
and the community aspect
people
of
were
everything.
so mad. People were
It,
so mad. Oh my god.
super politic, and then like fascinating. Like people start like there were massive threats of like the research background of the vaccine and this and
Yeah,
that
I
and
remember. I
religious
remember.
stuff, and it was like,
Oh,
I don't know, you
people
want
were
to travel or
pooping
not?
themselves. Yeah, exactly. But like the thing is like yeah, I want to travel, but yeah, I don't want to sacrifice my body. You know,
It's
it's like
true.
travel isn't worth that. You know, it's the problem is that like it's compounded with a whole bunch of other shit, right? And the fact that
Exactly.
even like people just thought it was within their own country, but now it's like this thing that I used to get away from my home country, I have to like carry it as a burden now that I'm
Yeah.
here doing this and it's over and blah blah blah. Like yeah, I remember people getting so pissed. There was this before we had the community portal. We were still all in the group Slack
Yeah.
because I remember this like all the people who were complaining they didn't go to the community portal. They were just like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you. I'm out. And I'll do it by
Yeah.
myself."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that's
Yeah.
not a policy anymore. They don't
No,
check
that's
that.
gone. That disappeared. I think it's been, I don't know if a year, but like the entire COVID word disappeared from. I
From
don't
the
know.
terms and conditions and whatnot.
Maybe you can read a little bit about it, but like basically for people to know what we do is we follow the local rules,
Yeah.
which I don't think there's any country at this point that has
No.
anything.
I think only the US would be the only country that actually had such a role in the first place. Everybody else was
Yeah.
like, we're not buying Pfizer bullshit anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Um,
so
so
that
those were my
impacted sales,
first.
of course.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It. I feel like remote year is such a novel idea that it gets like hit and whacked and attacked and by such a random circumstances that it's like we don't want to deal with this, but like it ends up affecting the entire system, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So, what cities did you guys do when you did your first community manager gig?
right. So we started in Mexico. Um, in again, I don't June, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, in June in Mexico City. Then we went to Medellin. No, we went to Guatemala, Antigua.
Okay.
That was a first timer for
Oh, that
remote
was
year
you.
ever,
You were breaking the ice there. Yeah, because the
basically.
strategy. Let's just talk about the strategy originally. Like we had places like we had Czech Republic, Prague, we had Sofia. What were the other ones that were kind of like the winter friendly ones, or the ones that they went to? And there's like 12 cities that they dropped, like some favorites,
Yeah, I
favorite
don't know if you
spots.
mentioned
And
Prague.
Prague and Sofia are the only two that are really on top of my mind, but I know that there were at least a handful other ones that they
Yeah,
dropped because they were
maybe
kind of.
Budapest.
Oh, was Budapest one of them? I
I
don't. I don't
think
remember
so.
that one being an option. Um, and yeah, anyways, they started focusing on places that you could do all year round because some people didn't really like winter spots so much, and so they would lose people in those months just because people don't like being cold. But Prague is like a beautiful place in the winter, like at Christmas time, the whole city's like lit up. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
And Sofia is kind of, yeah, I could do without Sofia in the winter. And you have Greece right there, and so like probably everybody disappeared in Sofia and just went to Thessaloniki or Halkidiki or Athens, or pick one of 100 islands, and it's a good time. With your 40 people, you're gonna have a fucking blast, right?
yes, yes,
So it made sense, and so yeah, they picked up a bunch of new cities. You got some Central American spots,
yeah.
and then Tigo was one of them.
Yeah, and on that note, I think that's some kind of like the magic of remote year in that sense because like let's face it, in Spain we don't go to Madrid or Barcelona. We go to Valencia.
Hmm.
And this happens with other cities as well, right? Like in Croatia, we don't go to Zagreb, we go to Split, which are like the quote unquote alternative destinations, if you like.
Hmm.
And I remember hearing from so many remotes saying like, I didn't know anything about Santiago or Antigua or Split or anything like that. Ended up being like one of my favorites. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like you're doing some
Yeah.
cool cities like Cape Town or Mexico City, but then you get these kind of like more alternative
Hmm.
destinations and people end up loving it.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I think what's
Antigua,
what's what's good about those. Not to interrupt you, sorry, but I
yeah,
think
yeah,
what's good about those is like when you think about going to Spain, you go to Madrid or you go to Barcelona because that's where the flight takes you, and you just go straight to the Airbnb, and you're like, this is home base. And when the program makes you go to Valencia, there's less tourists there, and so you get a more genuine version of the country because you're literally experiencing just the locals there, right? Because
yeah,
in Barcelona, like they maybe don't have the same kind of vibe during the siesta hour because there's tourists out, and there's
yeah,
there's
yeah,
money to be made, and so the hustle like overtakes the experience of actually being in Spain. Whereas if you go to Valencia, it town shuts down for 4 hours, and people are up until 1 in the morning. And you have dinner at 10 p.m. at night, and then you hang out on the street until after midnight, and then it's after that sixth beer at 2 in the morning. You're like, okay, guys, this is it. And you don't get that experience in Barcelona because everybody's been grinding all day. And it's a different vibe, and you maybe haven't actually been to Spain. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I agree. And let's face it, like as you said, most of the flights go there. So it's something that maybe you can do by yourself. Like it's not something
Mhm.
like I don't think it adds the value of remote year overall. Um, Antigua was very interesting. I'm just making a quick stop on this one
Yeah. I would like
because
to actually go through all the cities and talk about like what you loved, what places, what was the food like, what was your experience
sure,
like?
I'll backtrack then to Mexico.
Yeah, let's do it.
So people will remember that Mexico was kind of like one of the easier countries to go through COVID, right? My group doesn't know this, but like we started with Mexico with the hope that time will allow the other countries to like start reopening, right? By the
Mhm.
time we started, Lima was a question mark, which was the last program.
Okay.
Um, so anyway, Mexico was great. Everyone was there. Obviously, COVID is a thing, so we have to spend like 25 minutes talking about like wearing masks and this and that and
Yeah.
the local regulations, yada yada yada. Um, it was great. I want to make a special like
Shout out.
an shout out to
Highlight.
this lady. Yeah, her name is Stacy Randall. Um, older lady. I'm not gonna say how old. She's a trooper, but she joined that program after a double knee surgery.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell one little story. On that first day after orientation, there was a taco crawl. So basically, the idea was to hit like 4 different taco places around the co-working space, so people can
Okay.
get their bearings
Oh
and
yeah.
eat
You
tacos.
got to know
Who
where the
doesn't want to do
tacos
that?
are. Like
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
it's very important information.
Very like that was the only reason why people were going to that to
Yeah.
that
Yo
orientation.
quiero tacos.
Um,
Ahorita.
exactly, exactly, and the good ones and where the locals eat and how to pick a good taco. You know how to pick a good taco, right? Or
The
a good
uglier
taco
the
place.
restaurant, the nicer the tacos.
Exactly. The
If the
longer the
place is
line, and
ugly and the line's big, you gotta eat there.
exactly, and you gotta avoid the ones in the big streets because those get the pollution from the cars.
Yeah, okay.
Um. Anyway, so we're doing the thing, and Stacy, like I don't remember, but like long story short, when we finally, so we all leave the building at the same time towards the first taco destination. And long story short, I've started receiving information from another staff member. And so we changed our road to go to a different taco destination. Turns out the group already hit 1 or 2 taco places before we actually could catch up with them on the third place. This is how
Oh
fast
wow.
or how slow Stacy
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
By the end of the 4 months, she was walking normal speed. So
yeah,
that was actually something very cool to see through the 4 months.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Mexico was amazing. I also remember we did the hot air balloon. I think everybody does
Okay.
that when you're in Mexico City doing the program. Um, and there was another remote who was afraid of heights. Long story short, she decided to jump into the basket and we did it.
Yeah.
And she was so happy to have accomplished
To
this.
face her
And
field,
this
to face her fear.
exactly. And she was so thankful of everyone trying to like, like support
Yeah.
her and this and that. And you have, I don't want to spoil it, but like long story short, there's a surprise in the ride. And these are the moments where remote year feels
Yeah.
amazing, right? When
I,
you can share these kind of
I'm getting
moments with
I'm
other people.
getting goosebumps thinking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
It's
So
awesome.
yeah, that's the magic of remote year, right?
What did you do like in the Mexico program? What were your like side trips and stuff like that?
So there was one too. I forgot the name, but you do the temazcal. A temazcal, basically, for people to know, is like a natural sauna.
Okay.
It's very uh, indigenous, religious, heavy. Like
Yeah.
there's a
It's like
heavy component of like
call it we call those in Canada they do it as well. And
it's um it's like a steaming room kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Is that what?
Um,
Yeah. It'll come to me
no, I
eventually.
know. Yeah, I know it has a
There's a
specific term.
yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
for people to understand, it's almost like a cave. You go, it's kind of like under the water, and you go in, and the idea is for you to stay as long as technically your body
Capable to?
allows,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 well, there's some internal psychic happening there with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and pushing through the limits and all of that sort of stuff. So that was one option. The other option, we did, I don't know if people have heard about it, but it's called Tolantongo. This was actually very cool because one of my remotes pushed for it. And this is also the beauty of remote year. When someone comes up with an idea and basically we the staff supported her to do this kind of thing, and we ended up going. And for people to know, I don't know if Rick, if you're gonna like be sharing images over this, but like basically
I
is
can.
uh,
I can
it's
post process.
basically like water pool, like basically like these natural pools, and there's like I don't know 100 of those, and then there's a waterfall that you can go through. By the way, the waterfall is warm. Like I've never seen anything like that. So you see this waterfall, you start walking through, and then the water is warm, and then you go into this place, and it's basically a cave, completely dark, where like there's a current and it's warm. It's amazing, like completely amazing. Some people went to Oaxaca, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Other people
What
went
about
to
the
Playa
like
del
the
Carmen.
pyramids? Is that where the pyramids are? Oaxaca?
Oaxaca is a very cultural place. You know, Oaxaca is very well known for Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos. That's
Right.
where like
Yeah, yeah.
where
Everybody
the
dresses up.
tradition.
They put the face makeup on. This is like the move.
Exactly.
There was a movie, a Disney movie that was
Coco,
like
Coco.
Coco. Right, right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's there.
everybody loves that. Even the citizens like always show up. There's tons of Magellans who show up there every year just to participate in that. So,
Exactly. That's
isn't it?
that's where Mexico.
What time of the year is that? That's only in like
That's happening now in October,
okay,
by the end of
October.
October. So it's misinterpreted as Halloween.
Yeah.
Um, but it's that those final days of October, first 2 days of November.
Oh, it's called a sweat lodge.
That's it.
It's a sweat
That's it.
lodge. Yes.
That's it. Um,
Took so long. I had to do a little googling.
yeah, but it happened.
Yeah.
So that was also well the hot air balloon over. I think my mind. I think it's Teotihuacan. I would like to believe.
Mm,
So just for people to
that's the
understand, if
pyramid.
it is not the
Yeah.
place, it's over archaeological site. So basically, you're doing a hot air balloon during the sunrise, which is already amazing. But below you, there's this city basically built up by the
An
Aztecs.
ancient city.
So
An ancient city. Yeah.
exactly, mind blowing, mind blowing. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, obviously
Is
the
that the
cooking class in
surprise? Is that
Mexico.
the surprise in the no, there's another
No,
surprise.
no,
Oh, okay,
no, no,
okay.
no, no, no.
To
There's a
do.
cherry on top. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Um,
Is Miguel
and
Mezcal at
then
the
maybe.
end.
And then obviously, I don't know if you have done it, Rick, but the trajineras. Um, and
Doesn't sound
I
familiar.
also forgot the specific name. But basically, people should know this, but Mexico City used to be a lake.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and based on that, outside of the city, there's this, that's how they grew veggies, right? So basically, imagine these streams of water that they supply these mini
Hmm.
farms, if you would like to,
Hmm.
and that's where a lot of restaurants get their veggies from, and the population as well.
Hmm.
So basically, for people to understand, you jump into this platform that is kind of large. You can fit it. It depends on the platform or the boat. You can fit up to like 12 people, 15 people. There's like
Like
some of them
a
they're covered.
barge,
Kind of, yeah, yeah, exactly. And you have your little guy at the back, like like pushing through the stream.
like Venice.
Um,
What would you call it?
It's a it's a
Gondola?
yes, kind of thing. So Venice, you do it through a city, which is epic. Here, you do it through a river stream network kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and what is epic about it is like you go down the river. Obviously, the scenery is beautiful, but then another of these like raft, if you want to call it, they come over and they have mariachis. So they kind of like connect with your boat, and they play a couple mariachi songs, and then another boat that is a bar comes and like connects from the other side, and you can like purchase beer,
Oh, that's
tequila,
amazing. All of a sudden you're at a
whatever you
party.
want.
Yeah.
On a moving like like stream,
Yeah.
it's epic. It can get very rowdy, but like
Yeah.
there's a lot of fun.
But you're there with your
Um,
people, right?
you're with your people enjoying this very unique experience. Like
Wicked.
Mexicans are so creative and so fun, and like when you cannot expect anything new, another raft comes over and they offer you popcorn or fried chicken,
Yeah.
or I don't know, like
Yeah. Some
man,
tequila for
what
sure
a
on the
for
bar.
sure, for sure, for sure. And obviously you can pass from one raft to the other one and
Of
connect and
course.
yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So that
They
was a
would
lot of
be
fun in Mexico.
that's awesome, man. So next you did
Yeah.
Antigua in Guatemala.
Antigua.
No.
So Antigua, we opened it. Yes, Antigua, Guatemala. Magical place. I don't know what to compare it with, but did you make it to Split?
I did, yeah.
Right. So you know how Split is tiny. Basically, you can cross the entire
Like a
city like
little hook.
in an
Yeah.
hour maybe or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Antigua is basically the same thing. Pre-colonial city. Um, beautiful city, cobblestones. There's barely cars. It's like a picture, and it's surrounded by at least three volcanoes, one of them active, and it erupts every, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. It's a show.
Hmm.
um, and amazing food, amazing beer scene, pizza scene, very Catholic Christian,
Hmm.
and it was the very first time that we were going there. So actually, it was a little bit of a challenge because I was operating with someone brand new to the company.
Hmm.
Josh, super fun guy,
Hmm.
and you know this better than no one, Rick. Every single time that remote year goes to a place for the very first time,
There are
there's a lot of
problems.
stuff.
A couple
Yes,
problems. We're
yes.
not 100% ready. We're about 80. We're like they're like Microsoft when they launch a new operating system, you know.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
80% there. We're going to give you some hot live updates along the way
Yeah,
and we'll make
yeah.
everything good.
Um, but you know what? I'm the kind of people that I rather to be there first. I want to see it first.
Yeah.
There's people that they prefer that. Other people want to
Yeah.
only see it when it's 100%. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys, if you're interested in doing
Well,
remote
it's
year,
an it's
do
a
your
it's an
research.
experience, right? It's part of the journey,
Mhm.
you know. It's like figuring out those problems is what makes that experience more unique than all the other experiences that are going to come after it. You know, whether it's
100%.
good or bad, it's like going through that experience and figuring out you know, how to get to the other end of it is what's going to make that experience as, you know, as unique as possible.
100%. And if you're a storyteller, like you have better juicy stories than like when you go and everything is
Exactly.
like map out and all of that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Um, So anyway, we went there, and I'm going back a little bit to what you were talking about, the 12-month program, where like
Yeah.
it can be very dysfunction and all of that. We call it that after the first transition, you see the true colors of people, right? Because
Yeah.
you have
For
people that
sure.
want to be at the airport,
That's when
like
the
that's
curtain
the screening.
falls. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
you're like the Wizard of Oz. You're like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Literally. So we get there second month, and a lot of people. I'm not so. I believe in energy. I just don't know which energy. But like my group started storming then in the second month in Antigua,
Okay.
and couple of things like there was a lot curfew. So I remember on our first Friday there, I believe we were partying like if it was 2 a.m. at 5 p.m. because the curfew was at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So people were drunk at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
The entire city will shut down after 6 p.m. And I think this is part of the process of learning, growing, and discovering who you are and developing this
Totally.
emotional intelligence. um, People didn't know what to do with themselves, right? Like
Hmm.
this is a small town, and if everything closes by 6 and you cannot leave the house by 6, like too much free time to like think about random stuff. Um, so my group ended up storming there. Um, just I don't think it's worth for me to actually like address that because it's human interaction, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think it's worth talking about without like, naming any names per se, but
like
it's an important part of the experience, just talking about like, the things that we did is like that's
I
again that's on the surface, but it's not like where the real value is, right?
Yeah, but like I don't specifically. It was like I remember there were three things, and it was just so surface level that it got fixed after a weekend where two people had actually the time. I remember one guy. I was so proud of him. A little bit older compared to the group. He got very upset with one girl because of different points of view. Maybe it was related to COVID. And
Mm.
then that, as we already kind of like mentioned, it triggered into other political aspects or whatever.
Oh, okay.
This guy, I remember we had a one-on-one on a Friday early, and he says like, "I don't know, man. This is not for me. Like, I don't like this. Yada yada yada. Like this group, me, whatever." And he's like, "Here's what I'm gonna say. The beauty of this, and a lot of people don't realize this, is like I'm just there to listen." And he walked me through his entire like I don't know emotional roller
Perspective.
coaster. And
His
he's
perspective.
exactly. And he goes and he says like, so hear me out, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm leaving tonight. I'm going to I forgot now the name of the capital of Guatemala City. I'm going to the city. I'm gonna spend the weekend over there. I'm gonna come back on Monday, and then we're gonna talk. Cool beans. um I learned then later that actually before he left, or actually when he came back, he talked to the girl. He said like, listen, I'm sorry for what I say. I still don't agree with what you said, but I just want to make pieces. We're in this together, and I'm sorry I was whatever somehow rude to you. And the
Yeah.
same speech was coming from the other side. Hands were shoot, and
Hmm.
then everything was fine for the rest of the journey. And that tells you a little bit of what the storming is, and the capability and responsibility and ability that we have towards these relationships and how you want to face them. And then I was so proud because they knew there was a problem, they knew how to deal with it, and they fixed it.
Yeah.
And
You just had to talk
that
about
makes
it.
you so
You
proud.
being
Exactly.
there to be a ear, to be empathetic, to listen to what he happens to say. Like he's solving the problem in his head while he's talking it through to you. And it's like
Literally.
we have this culture that like sends us to the corner when we're angry, and you're just supposed to sit there and spew about it, when reality is just like, if we just spend a few minutes talking about it and airing out and like going through that, like each other's perspective and hearing each other, it's a way that you can actually see resolve at the other end of it, instead of just like carrying the burden of what you think on your shoulders, so that you have to carry it around, like that shit's heavy,
Exactly.
you know so
And not only the two people become better people, the relationship also steps up, right? Like,
mhm, between them,
um,
and then everybody
exactly.
everybody else everybody else is there too, to like support and be empathetic. You have the girls with the girls and the guys with the guys, you know
Yeah, yeah.
and
And they grow together, right? Like,
mhm,
if they could fix it, maybe I can also fix it with whoever I have an
exactly,
issue, you know?
you see it by
Um,
example, you learn by example.
exactly. And I think the what we can take out of this is like what people need to understand is like, and you know this, I'm sure you know this very well, you're not going to become best friends forever with every single member of your community. And
Hmm.
it's important that you understand that from the beginning. That doesn't mean that you cannot say good morning and good evening.
Yeah.
They're still your friends,
Well,
and
you
maybe,
can disagree. Just okay, you disagree, but that you're still
yeah,
both people. you know?
Exactly.
And
And
you're more than that because you're a family whether you like it or not. Unless you
that's it.
decide to leave and then you're the most dysfunctional person in the group. The only good reason to leave is you can't afford it.
Yeah,
Or
I
somebody's
agree.
dying, your mom's dying.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, I agree.
it's if you're running away from something, it's like there's something else that's a problem in the situation, and that's probably why you got into that argument in the first place. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. A lot of times the rage comes from a different place, right?
Oh,
Not from
for
the
sure.
actual like
Social
like
programming, things that we bring from our parents.
exactly,
We carry that shit around until
exactly.
you learn from it, and then you let it go, and then you're like finally the person that you are. And you have
Exactly.
to face that shit. And that's what therapy is
Yeah.
for, or remote here.
Yeah, I just wanna say a big thing here. There's no health professionals in remote year. Don't expect to fix your problems by traveling.
No,
And this,
no.
I'm gonna
Well,
quote, I'm
yeah,
gonna quote a, I'm gonna quote a video from Adam Sandler. You can look it in on internet. Basically,
yeah,
he's mocking a travel agency, and very shortly says like, "We'll take you to Rome. You're gonna do this, eat the pasta, like whatever. But if you're depressed back home, you're gonna be depressed in Rome. If you're miserable, like if your romantic life is miserable back home, you're not gonna be better kissing under the Coliseum or whatever it is.
yeah,
So we're
yeah,
here to support everyone, but like we're not
yeah,
professionals. We're happy to talk to you and try to figure things out. But like the most important thing is like people have to come with a mindset of like
yeah.
I wanna grow, and I'm I'm
Hmm.
I'm here to make mistakes,
Hmm.
but also I'm here to like
Hmm.
uh, ask for apologies or actually learn with
Yeah.
someone and grow with someone, and
I'm reminded
that's
of the
most
quote, travel is the only thing you pay for that pays you back.
exactly, exactly, 100%. um,
So,
but the open mindset has to be there.
yeah. Well, I think that
Yeah,
you kind of go into it like the thing that makes you want to do it in the first place is that open mindset, right? Because if you have a
we
closed
hope
mindset,
so.
you just keep doing the thing that you're doing, right? You just stay at home, you work
Yeah,
from your basement, you have your cushy job, you're addicted to your salary, you have your house that you spent all your money on, you have your car in the driveway, you think those things make you happy, and you're miserable.
yeah,
and
it's
now
true,
and
it's
now
true,
you're stuck there because you have to justify having all that shit, and you don't like
it's
people
true.
enough to let them rent your house out so that you can, and it's just like you just keep digging yourself deeper and deeper into the hole that is making you hate yourself.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
sell your shit and start traveling. Your stuff
Do
isn't
it.
making you happy. If that
It's
stuff
true,
doesn't bring you
it's true.
value, fucking say goodbye. Um, okay, so let's talk about the experience in Antigua. What were the side trips like? And
Right. So again, brand new city. So there was not much. It was a very basic platform. We'll put it that way. So one of the cool side trip was going to the Atitlan Lake. Um, Again, very energetic place on earth. So for people to understand, this lake is the crater of a mega volcano that is dormant, right? Um, so basically, you are on a lake that is a crater of a volcano, like mind blowing, right?
yeah.
You spend a weekend over there, and there's 7 towns across the lake, and each of
Okay.
them have a saint name, right? Like Saint
Okay.
Charles, Saint something, Saint John, whatever it is. Obviously in Spanish.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, each of these cities or towns or lake towns have their own personality. In which sense? There's the yogi town, so all of the
Okay.
yogis go there to do yoga and eat healthy. There's the party place, and it's like
yeah.
loud, and they're blasting music all of the time and
Okay.
alcohol, whatever you want. And
yeah.
just like that, there's another one that is like the groceries village. So you go there
Yeah.
and you buy like
Fresh
natural
food and
products like
natural, yeah.
coffee and chocolate
Farmer
and very nice
market
stuff.
and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So anyway,
What are the
there's
other
these seven
four? You have to
cities.
do them all. You have to do them all.
Ooh, I don't remember, man. I didn't visit them all. I visited like
No.
3 or 4 of them, but
Okay.
strongly
You guys do
suggest
like a
people do
little.
that.
You do like a little boat tour on them, or?
Yeah, so boats are taxis, so you have to pay for your boat to
Okay.
go across the lake. And there's a place for everybody. If you like partying, you can go there. If you like yoga, you
Okay.
can go there. So you have to do it. You have to see it. It's a magical
Yeah.
place. You
I
go in
gotta
that
go.
lake, and the lake, it feels like
Re-energizes
this
you.
might sound very corny, but like
Yeah.
a breeze of fresh air, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's very cool. And then there was a side trip to it's not Tikal. Tikal is up north, but I'll remember. But it's like a Mayan city, an archaeological site,
Mhm.
and very cultural. You go there, you see the structures, they tell you what's happened. Once again, you see a city that you can tell that this was the main square, and here's where people, I don't know, maybe they did sacrifices.
Mhm.
Um, so very cool stuff. There was I think the highlight of that platform, besides Atitan Lake and the city itself, was you get to go to a coffee plantation where you meet a family. There's this guy called Freddy who back then he had 7 children, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken,
wow. He's
and
got
they
a
all
couple more
work
now. You
together.
think? You
Hey, the
never
guy is strong.
know. Eh.
um, so you do the coffee tour with them, and they explain you everything, and then they serve you dinner,
Oh.
or actually lunch. And the most delicious lunch ever. It was chicken based, like a chicken stew kind of dish, and it was great because this is on a Saturday morning, and we actually went out on Friday night. So actually, it was the perfect meal to have on Saturday lunch. Um,
Mhm.
Pepian. The name of that dish is pepian. Delicious stuff.
Pepian.
Yeah,
Pepian.
yeah.
Was the name of the city Calakmul? Calakmul?
No, I can do a quick
Tikal.
research.
Tikal is a ruined
Tikal
Inca
is
city.
it's up north, but that's up north. Um,
Okay.
so
Flores.
Guatemala. No, that's also up north. Um,
Nakabe. Nakbe.
I think it's Jaksha. I think it's Jaksha.
Okay.
Um, let's
Cool,
see.
man.
Yeah.
So what was the
For
highlight of
eight,
Guatemala for you? Was it was this volcano lake?
yes. No. So we did something. I had the opportunity to be sharing accommodation with other 3 staff members of remote year. That usually never happens, or it used to happen way more back then. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
rare. And there's this one specific volcano called Fuego or Fire for
Mm-hmm.
the non-Spanish speakers. Um, so what you do is you hike this thing up. It's a 2-day thing, right? And you start very early, and you go up to one volcano called Acatenango.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you like 8 hours. It's physically demanding. And once you reach the base camp of Acatenango, they offer you to drop your weight because, by the way, you have to bring your food, 4 liters of water, your like heavy jackets because it gets very cold at night, and they offer you to go to Fuego, which is this volcano on front. So once you submit the base, you drop your stuff, and then you come down and up Fuego to see. Basically, I'm gonna share my screen. Obviously, you can like not share my screen, my phone, but like
Yeah.
basically,
Oh
this is my
yeah.
background.
Hey. You look at that every day?
Uh, Dude, every day, coolest experience I've done in the last, I don't know, 4 years or so.
Nice.
Um, and so you go there, you spend the sunset very close to Fuego. The thing is erupting in your face, and then you head back at night, and you come back to the base camp. You have dinner, and you go to sleep like at 8 p.m. or something like that because the next morning at 4 a.m. you have to wake up to submit Acatenango and check out the sun rays from the top of there. And Rick, let me tell you, most epic sunrise of my life, because first of all, you cannot sleep because people stay awake just looking at fuego erupting every 15 minutes or so, and
Yeah.
every single time it erupts, everyone goes like,
Oh,
"Whoa!" like they go crazy, so you cannot sleep. So what I ended up doing is I grabbed
there's
my
no curfew.
blanket.
No curfew there. You guys didn't.
No. Above 2,000 meters above sea level, there's no curfew. So I grab my
Sleep when we
blanket, I
get
go
back to
outside, I sit.
town.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I sit down on a chair with my blanket, and I'm like just looking this amazing show. And then so the sun is rising this way, right? Which is already beautiful. Then you see
Mhm,
volcano number one, which is called agua or water.
mhm.
Um, then thunderstorm at the very back end,
Yeah.
fuego erupting, and a full moon here.
Mhm.
So basically, these five elements all happening at the same time, and you're
Wow.
watching this from the top of a volcano, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is my life now, kind of
Like
thing, you
this is
know?
Earth. We are on
Yeah,
Earth.
this is exactly.
This is a planet.
And
This isn't my little bubble of my hometown. This is a fucking flying rock through space and it's erupting and growing and
yeah,
exploding.
yeah,
And
yeah,
meantime, we're
yeah,
there
and
like,
it's
oh, I gotta get
alive.
to work. I gotta get to work today.
I'm so late for my whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, I have a Zoom call.
Yeah, true. Um, so that happened, and then we came back. Actually, this for people to know, I decided that we should never offer it as part of the RY platform because it was too demanding. Um,
Yeah.
but if people want to do it, you can go to Antigua. There's
Yeah.
plenty of companies that they do this. Just
Yeah.
be mindful of what you're doing. Like I feel very, when you talk to guys that they went through the 70s or 80s, and they say, oh, we used to do that and no one cared, and like you could, like, I don't know, drink and drive or do random stuff
Yeah.
because there was no research about it. I feel the same way. um, be aware that you're going towards an active volcano,
Yeah.
and that thing erupts, and
Yeah.
you have to
Be
sign a
careful
waiver.
where
Like,
be careful where you take that selfie.
literally, don't do it for the gram, basically.
Uh,
And I think that this is something that it only takes a couple tourists to like die over there for
yeah,
everything to
screw it up
change,
for
and
everyone.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So one of those cool stories that you could tell your grandchildren and say, like, back in my time, no one
Yeah.
cared, and
We stayed there all night partying, drinking.
exactly. We were real men back then.
Oh God. Now those people aren't real at all. They're just zoomers,
Yeah,
boomers.
it's true.
Okay, so next was Medellin.
Medellin. For anyone who has gone, it's a party.
Yeah.
No COVID was, nothing
No
happened there,
COVID
basically.
rules. Yeah.
No, nothing. And a lot of fun. Um, I remember once a remote told me, like, this you walk into Medellin and you feel this energy, like something is calling you out and you have to go out. Like, I don't know, maybe it's the
Yeah.
reggaeton beat 24/7 or
Yeah.
something like that, but like there's so much energy there.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We did the Watape thing, which obviously it's very cool for people to know. Watape is
Mhm.
like a lake town,
Yeah.
a couple hours outside of Medellin. And the cool thing in remote years, they do this event called "Do It in a Van." So basically, you jump in a van, and like a 70s van. It looks very cool, very like quirky or
Like a
whatever. Uh,
Mercedes Benz van that's like multicolored and painted every color
yeah,
on the rainbow.
exactly. So you go on this thing for 2 hours. You get breakfast. All the food you eat in this thing, it's delicious, like out of this world.
Yeah.
And you get to it's a dam, actually, not a lake, and
Mhm.
you get the opportunity to do wakeboarding over there.
Okay.
there's also
Yeah.
a bridge where you can jump from. Might be a couple
Mhm.
meters high.
That's in
For
the
some people,
town.
it's very. This is in
Yeah.
Guatapé, yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
did
and then
the stairs up
the
to
the,
the spire.
the
Was it like a
exactly.
monastery up there or something? I think it's a
No, I
monastery
don't know if
originally.
maybe, but like
I think
nowadays
there's a
they only
church
you
up
can
there.
buy beers and
Yeah.
chill at
Yeah,
the
yeah. There's like a
souvenirs.
courtyard, but that's why that's like the reason why that's there is because it used to be like a kind of monastery, I think. Because there's like the
I would like to
tower,
believe.
there's like a
Yeah.
stone tower that you can climb up and stand on top of, and then at the base there's
Yes.
like a courtyard that you can hang out in. But I think back
Yeah.
in the day that's what that originally was. And there's like 750 steps going up and
Yeah.
they're super
Yeah.
precarious and it's a unique experience. And then you're just like you have the perfect 360 view of the whole area and it's just little lakes and little hills and
Exactly.
little houses and it's a beautiful place for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, with the clouds and everything. It's beautiful. And then after that, you go to a couple little towns. You get like to enjoy Colombian coffee, ice cream. Very like, uh, the classic visiting little towns. Like picture here, ice cream here. Like very,
Mm.
very, very nice. Very like slow pace. That's one of the highlights of Medellin for sure. Um, some people, I believe, they went to Cartagena. Um,
Mm.
but that's another story. And then, oh, my favorite activity in Medellin is Tejo. I don't know if you have played Tejo.
No, I don't know what that
All
is.
right. So in Chile, there's something similar, but these guys, Colombians, they took it to the next level. It's basically how you call that cornhole? Is that what you call that?
Mm. uh,
Corn. What's the thing that you
Corn
throw? The,
toss. Bean like it's like with beanbags. You got
yes.
beanbag game. Yeah, I mean, they could call it that, I suppose.
Okay. So
Just corn toss, maybe corn toss.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, basically you have your like little alley, like a bowling alley, right? And
Mm,
then there's a target, right, in this sandbox. So you get an iron kind of like coin or medal if you want to, and you're meant to like toss it and hit on the target.
mhm.
What is the beauty of this game? Two things. Number one, you can drink whatever you want to drink. So
Yeah,
very
we
leisure.
have a
So I don't
we
know
have
if
a
that could
we have like a horseshoe game that we play that's similar.
basically.
Horseshoe.
So imagine
Yeah.
the same thing, but the cool thing is drinking might help you or not for your aiming. But the cool thing is when you hit the target, uh, there's a boom because there's TNT on this thing, right? So it
Oh
explodes.
wow! Oh
So
wow! It's
so
exciting
the
then.
excitement of like actually hitting the target is like, "Pah!" It's like,
Oh
whoa, you
wow,
know?
that's dangerous.
So no,
You
it's
just
not
put a
because
little
you're
you just put a little drop of nitrous in there.
yeah, it's I think I don't know, like it's gunpowder. That's what it is.
Okay,
And it's basically
it's like a
it's
little
in this little
firework or something, like a
basically,
cap,
and
like
they're
from a
like in
cap
these
gun.
little envelopes. You put
Yeah,
them in there, so if you hit the thing, kaboom!
pop.
So fun, so fun. Obviously there's like reggaeton on the background, so you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, of
like you're
course.
talking to other people, you're seeing how they're doing, so very very friendly, a lot of fun. um, that was very cool. And then you also your coffee plantation tour. It's cool because
Mm,
you get to dress like a Colombian from the region, so for
mm.
the pictures it's very funny in between all of the coffee plants. Very very cool process too, and they give you lunch as well. That was very cool. And then Medellin itself, like there's
Yeah,
rooftops that you can go and hang out, and you can party until whatever time. A lot of fun.
sweet. And how was
Yeah,
Lima by the time you got to Medellin? Was Lima open for business or was it tricky to get in?
it was tricky, but we all managed to walk in. They were a little bit more restrictive. A little bit more of like wearing masks and some stuff were closed. But overall, I'm sure you also understand this, Rick. Like last month in a program like this, I call it celebration month. Like all of your beef, all of your issues, all of your whatever you had with other people, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like erases, and people
Yeah.
understand that this is the last time you have to like connect or
Be
grow or
together.
do or
Yeah.
undo or whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what Lima was for us.
Yeah.
um, it was amazing, very emotional. Some people did the Amazon. That's a 3 day situation. You take a flight, you go to Iquitos, if I'm not wrong, and that's magical. Once again, this is planet Earth. Like forget
Yeah.
about Nat Geo and the HD camera.
Yeah.
Just go and do it. Um, Amazing. You get to fish your own piranha. Like you get to like see random
That
animals
was
live in
was
this.
that just a side trip or was that like an official
It's
experience?
what is called a weekend adventure.
Okay.
So basically, it's a multi-day, like 2-3 days situation that you
Mm.
go spend the night over there, and every day there's something to do. Food was amazing, and like you see how people live there in the jungle, no cars, of course, and like
Mhm.
I believe in like the kind of like the cleansing that your brain gets when you are outside of like when you don't hear cars and you don't hear like I don't know like the hustle and bustle from a city. Absolutely recommended for anyone who is interested. Um, you see dolphins. It's crazy. It's like again
Mhm.
Nat Geo kind of like stuff. Um, then we did Wakachina. That was a blast for my group. I don't want to tell all of the details because you have to
Yeah, yeah,
experience it. But like,
totally.
long story short, it's also a weekend adventure. So you do like 2 nights. You drive up north, and you are in the desert area of Peru. Um, and you do the Huacachina Desert. You can Google it, and you'll understand what we're
Hmm.
saying. This is Huacachina is a town built out of a oasis.
Mm.
Um, so absolutely majestic.
Ooh,
And
yeah, I've totally
there
seen
you
this
go.
place before. Wow.
Yeah. And then so you do some boogie adventure, which
Yeah, some
is a
snowboarding,
little bit
some
adrenalinic.
sandboarding.
Like FYI, yes, you do the sandboarding. FYI, if you don't like going fast and like bumpy and this and that, don't do it.
Yeah.
um, but it's a blast. It's like it feels like Mad Max, like you're going like I don't know how fast in the middle of
Just
the
in like a
sand, and
in
the
like a
boogie is like
in a buggy. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, in like
yes,
sand
yes. So
dunes.
you feel the wind in your face, and like everyone is
Yeah,
wearing shades because of the sand, and everyone is like
yeah.
kind of like covering their like faces. It's a vibe.
Nice,
And
nice.
then remote year there prepares out of this world sunset situation. I'm not gonna give details. You have to experience it yourself.
Yeah,
But the beauty of that is like for my group, it felt like the wrap up kind of thing, right? Like we
yeah,
started 3 months ago in Mexico, and we did this and that, and now we're like watching this unbelievable sunset in the middle of nowhere. Um, you see people hugging and like remember the two guys I said that they had this argument in
yeah.
Antigua. Now they're like hugging
Best
it
friends.
out and stuff like that. Yes,
I
like
don't
the
care
magic
what
of
we fought about.
literally. There is some alcohol involved, so that helps
Of
too.
course,
But
of course.
yeah, but yeah, no, absolutely amazing. And then after that, obviously there's other activities that you do during the week, but then you do Machu Picchu.
Oh,
Again, most of the
yeah,
group is going together, and big ticket item and
yeah,
big bucket list item,
yeah.
and
Great
and
photo.
you live in Cusco for like 5 days or something like that. And once again, it feels like celebration kind of like situation.
Yeah,
Um, so again, super epic. By
yeah.
now, in a personal matter, I learned that I'm being promoted to be the program.
What is up, World Wide Web? Rad Rick here. Just a quick announcement. On Monday, we're going to be doing our first AMA of our fractional program. We're going to do a deep dive into the business model that we've been developing over the last year. We've seen a lot of progress on it, and we're finally seeing the vision come together, and I'm really, really excited to share it in detail with all of you. For the last few weeks, I've been reaching out to fractionals in our communities that we are a part of, and we're really excited to hear their story and see how they could possibly fit into this new model that we've been developing. Rad Studio is a fractional multipreneur studio that helps solopreneurs and digital nomads build out their leadership teams. It's guided by Ikigai and Kaizen, meaning that it's just one well spent hour per day making continuous improvements in verticals that product owners might lack strength in or might not have time for. So if you're a product owner and you're building a product and you need a marketing person or you need a tech person or a product person, a fractional leader is a great option for you. Because a business owner starting out, you have to wear all the hats. I tell my clients all the time that if you're building a business, yes, you have to build a system that makes a dollar and delivers a value proposition. But you need to take the parts of the business that you hate and then give them to someone who loves it and lives it. And that's where fractionals come into play. It's only about 5 hours a week for them, potentially. It could be less, it could be an hour a week or an hour a month. But then when you need to turn it up, you can turn it up, and you need to turn it down, you can turn it down. And you can add other fractionals. It's really cool. It's all data driven and self governing. It's going to be something that really changes the startup game. Sam Altman said that the next wave of billion-dollar companies are going to be led by individuals. And I believe that this is a framework using fractionals where we're going to see a lot more solopreneurs doing a lot better than they would by themselves. Yes, we have AI, we have tools to help us accomplish a lot of things that were harder before. The reality is that if you're building a company, you still need someone in your corner to champion different things like legal, or someone to champion marketing, or someone to champion creative. Nobody is proficient in all of those things. And no matter what your gaps are, there's a fractional for you at Rad Studio. I hope to see you there. Stay tuned. Yeah, every time the monkeys run around on the roof, the dog starts barking. I don't know if you can hear, there's a parrot outside too. Do you hear the parrot
No,
every
that's
once in a
cool.
while? No?
Where are you, Rick?
I'm in San Juan del Sur in Nicaragua.
I see.
you're,
I
you're
see.
bouncing all around me. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. It's
you
true.
guys didn't do Nicaragua.
No, but there's a plan for next year in
Yeah,
what I'm doing. Then I'll
yeah,
update you on what I'm doing.
cool.
But oh yeah, so Machu Picchu. This is like week 3 out of the last month, and by now I learned that remote years promoted me to be the programs manager. This basically means that
Hey,
then
hey,
I'll take care of the new
congrats.
program leaders. Or thank you.
Hey,
It was
hey.
so coming to the emotional like stem like points or landmarks or
Yeah.
highlights. We did Rainbow Mountain. You can Google it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of a hike,
Yeah, I know it.
and at
I
this
know it.
point I knew it, and I waited until we all submitted the thing. And at this point, I'm content with obviously myself, but also with my group,
Mm-hmm.
because this is something that we haven't we mentioned it, but like to me, the kick of working in remote year is meeting people on their first week and meeting them months
Yeah,
after,
because you
and you
like
can
have a
see the
transformation,
development.
right? Yeah,
Dude,
just like
that's
break the
that's the
walls down.
it's insane, man. It's insane. So I'm there in the top of the mountain with my group. I see how much they have evolved or
Mm-hmm.
developed. I'm so proud of them, and I'm like this. One of them caught me smiling by myself. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll share with you guys. Like at this point, I have told them that this was an option, and I was like, I did it, I got it. Like I'm being the progress manager, and they were like so happy for me.
Yeah,
And once again, we come back to the community aspect. Like it's crazy how your clients get so excited for something
yeah,
personal, right? So like
yeah,
this kind of like tells the story how, I don't know, how attached we get with each
yeah.
other, right? Not only
Your
between
family.
clients but the staff too.
Mm-hmm.
um, so that was very epic.
I never.
um,
It's funny. You guys probably you don't call them clients. I've never heard anybody refer
no,
to them as clients. It's
no,
the
no,
first
no.
time.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
never even
It's
thought.
just to give perspective.
I never even thought of myself as a client, but I guess like technically we are and staff.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
consider the groups as like as staff and not staff, then the opposite of staff could be client, I suppose.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So when does that
Um,
that just did you guys just finish your that program? When did that program finish?
November, October, the end of October 2021.
Last year? A couple years now.
2021.
Did you do
Yeah.
another program since then? Have you just been doing
I
laps
did.
there? Yeah.
I did. Um,
What was the group name?
Back then, the
The
name
first
was
one?
Ochoa.
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 And then you did one
Called
or
after
two more after that?
Marta Ochoa. I did. So I did support many, 1 month.
Mm.
Um, as a programs manager, I was supporting a little bit with that. Sometimes training new staff members. Some other times, for instance, I had the opportunity to do it completely by myself in Chicago. Um, that was one of those few times that Remote Year tried to do something
The US
locally.
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
How did
that
that
was
go?
fascinating. It was it could have been better, but like amazing group. We had a blast. I had the opportunity to meet very, very cool people, and it felt so weird as a Chilean touring gringos
The
around
US.
Chicago.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit fascinating, but we had a blast. Love all of them.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
You were kind of a participant there, right? Because
Me
you're
myself,
usually
yeah,
in a
yeah.
Latin country.
Yeah, and people don't know what you know, right? So, for instance, if you're in Chile, I could like make up some like bullshit story saying like, "Oh, actually, here." Yeah, but like in the States, I cannot drop those like,
Yeah.
like just say like,
You're like there. You're
um,
almost a peer with them. You're just like kind
literally,
of
and
guiding them
probably they know
around.
more than me. There were
Yeah.
people that they have been in Chicago before
Of
that
course.
time, and I was like, okay, I'll just listen to you.
Yeah. Cool. So
Yeah,
what's next? What's going on? What's coming down
the
the
pipe.
pipeline? Yeah.
So I did the programs manager thing for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years. It was very demanding, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, and by the end of last year, when I finished my second 4 month program that I actually did in Europe last year, um, Remote Year offered me to be, the name of the role is the community experience manager.
Hmm.
So basically, um, things have changed, but since January 2024, I've been doing these global adventures or remote year adventures. That it's a different animal from what remote year usually is, and kind of
Mm.
like following this pattern of like offering shorter experiences. I've
Hmm.
been building this. You guys can visit it in the marketplace or the remote year webpage.
Hmm.
But these are 5 to 9 or 10 days adventures.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
seeing them in the community. You guys are
exactly.
promoting them.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm behind that. It's basically, it could be an alternative for those people who were remotes and maybe they're not anymore, or people who did the
Yeah.
12-month program just like you, and there's nothing new for them. So basically, that come as an answer for
There's
that.
always something new
Uh,
because the people are
exactly,
different. The people are different.
exactly. It's true though. It's true, and the platforms evolve as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've been doing that. It's my jam. I love it.
Mhm.
People have been raving about those. Um, I've been taking people to uni in Bolivia, which is a place that like it's not suitable for 30 days, but definitely
Yeah.
suitable for a week or something.
Yeah.
The
We
Azores in Portugal. Tell me.
we originally had La Paz was on our list, and
Yeah.
I think the first group went there, and like they were
No
sick. They
bueno.
got sick from the water, and they were just like literally shitting themselves
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
throwing up, and they like the elevation sickness on top of that is just like Bolivia was quickly trimmed from options after their
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man. It's too bad
yeah.
because the salt flats is like that's like an epic experience to go see that.
Insane. It's one of my favorites, and nowadays, if you want to do it, obviously you can do it by yourself. If you want to do it with the standard
No, you got
remote
to go
year,
with the
there's the
gang.
adventure.
You
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
go. The
yeah.
first podcast we talked about, that's what they went to. They went to the Salt Flats. Let's see here. They have Sri
Yeah.
Lanka. That would be fun.
Yes.
Croatia, Lima, Medellin. Okay. Where else? Where else? Cape Town, Hanoi. Okay. Mexico
So,
City.
but those are the programs. What you have to like, if you, I don't know if you're in the marketplace webpage.
Yeah, I'm there right now.
So in the top tier, I think there's a it says adventures on your should be on your right.
Destinations. The draw. Oh, RY Adventures. I see. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and there you're gonna see the grill of what we are offering today.
Cool. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I've been tracking on some of them. 5 days in Oaxaca,
Oaxaca. That's for the Day of
Oaxaca.
the Dead.
Yeah, it's a steep price, buddy. Is it
Yeah, yeah. But you
eight?
know why that is, right?
Why is it? Did you get the flight too?
No, no,
No
no, no.
flight.
No, the reality is like this is a yearly event that happens
Mm.
in Mexico. They
Uh,
they celebrate this better than Christmas or New Year's Eve.
yeah.
This is their celebration
Mm.
and it's
So the
getting
rent
popular.
is the rent
So
is high there. Yeah,
crazy,
that makes
crazy,
sense. That
crazy,
makes sense.
crazy. It's like take it as your Rio de Janeiro
Yeah,
carnival. Like everybody wants to be there.
I get it. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Cool, bro.
And the big difference with the programs is like here, like you get meals included, the activities are
Oh,
included because like for those who have not done remote year has a platform and certain things for free. But if you
yeah,
want to take the most out of it, there's a marketplace where you get your add-ons that
yeah,
they have been, carefully curated by the city managers there, so you can get the best out of the city. In this case, these are like pretty much, I would say 80 to 90% planned for you.
yeah.
So basically, you just go and you just enjoy there.
I don't think there's a 12-month program right now active.
There's one coming
Oh,
in
there is
January
January.
2025.
Africa and Asia.
Um,
Shizari,
yeah,
Shirazi.
Shirazi.
Oh, there's two. There's two Shirazi groups.
Yeah, so the fun,
One in
as
Africa
you
and
said,
one in.
there's always something new. What is happening with that one is the program will do both Latin America, Latin America and Europe together. And the third portion, people can pick if they want to go to do Asia or if
Hmm,
they want to go do Africa.
okay. I want to go to Africa and then Asia.
4 months.
That's funny. So, but here it says they're both 12 countries. It says
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Shirazi.
So you do the first 8 months together, Latin America
Oh,
and
I
Europe,
see. I see. So
and then the group splits.
Shirazi is 8 months, and then you can choose Africa or Asia. But
Yeah, and
then you
then you
lose
complete your
the
year.
group though. You lose the group. I want to
We're
travel with the
spicing
group
things
for.
up.
I want to travel with the group for a year though. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Will about that. I'm gonna bug
Please
Will.
do.
Will, for the 10-year anniversary, don't split it up, okay? It's got to be
There
a
you go.
gang. 75 people. It's got to be 75 people from day one. Make sure they're all, you know, gonna stick it out to the end because that's how it becomes the real genuine experience, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome, bro. It's been a couple hours. Thanks so much for taking the time and going through the roller coaster that was your experience. I'm so happy to hear that you've leveled up there in the business. We'll have to talk about that offline.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
definitely.
nudge, nudge. But yeah, I really appreciate you, and it's really great catching up. And I wasn't expecting to get emotional, and I could actually keep talking to you about it because my last month wasn't what your last month was in your group because I kind of emotionally disconnected from my
Mm,
because we were in Chile on my 12-month. I had my family there. Like I
right.
was in a unique situation from everyone else, and I do kind of regret not being connected with them as much as I could have been. It's something that I've always carried with me as a kind of regret about remote year. But it's over now. What are you gonna do?
I
And all you
think
can do is just keep going, you know?
true, learn from the experience and
Yeah,
then tell the story. Like tell people like, hey, if you're gonna do this, be intentional. Maybe
yeah,
obviously everybody goes through their own life and that's okay.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's pain points and
yeah,
celebration points. And
yeah. I should have been
um
there more
you're
for
not the
them, you know?
and you're not the first one, neither the last one who like doesn't take fully advantage of the last month or is going through
Mhm,
something. So like
yeah.
completely normal.
Saying goodbye has always been hard for me.
I see.
And in
I
a
see.
way, in a way, I left on month 11, even though I was there with them.
Yeah,
And that wasn't fair to them, I think, for me
I
to do
see.
that. But I was protecting my own emotions. I also had those last 4 months were tough for me because I was going through other things in life. And
Yeah.
actually making it through remote year was hard. Like having the money to do it because I didn't have a
Yeah,
full-time job.
yeah,
I was building my own business. I was always looking for stuff. I was building startups, and that's hard on a good day, you know?
yeah.
Much less
Yeah.
when you're doing something really hard as well, you know? And yeah, I didn't treat my family fair. I've never said that before, but it's true.
There you go. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, I'm glad that you are like realizing that and opening that with me. Like, I feel very honored. And Rick, I have to say that I cherish you pretty
Yeah.
much every day because,
Yeah.
like,
I
you
hope I
changed the
showed you the
course of my
door.
life, basically.
I showed you the
Dude,
door.
you were like in what's his name, Morphew in Matrix. It's like, which pill are you gonna take, kind of thing.
Take the blue pill.
um,
Stay in Wonderland. Or no, what is it? What's not Wonderland?
I
I
don't
can't remember.
remember
I
the
haven't
real
watched that
world or
movie.
something.
Yeah, stay in
Yeah,
the yeah. Oh
but
man. Well,
man,
I'm glad you took the leap. I knew that you would be the perfect person for it, and I'm not surprised you're doing it 6 years later. And yeah, I appreciate being able to live vicariously through your story, even
man,
after all these
I
years. And I
appreciate
know
it
that
so much.
we're gonna keep doing that. So I hope we
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
see each other soon. I've not been traveling a lot, but hopefully I end up in your city or vice versa sooner than later.
man. We'll keep on talking. But
For sure,
man,
brother.
only
Eh,
cheering you and thanks to you
you
and
gotta share
honoring
the
you.
love, man.
Yeah, yeah,
You did that because I knew that you were the person for the job, you know, and so
man. I appreciate
it's
it so
just
much.
it's just as much you as me, you know. I just made the
I
connection.
think that yeah, I think the key thing here is like you never know how far an advice can go, and
Yeah.
this is a real proof of it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your. Well, that was Gert from Remote Ear. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to that. It was an emotional couple of hours for me, especially of journey and adventure through Latin America. I hope you enjoyed it. I really appreciate Gert for taking the time to chat with me today. In the coming weeks, we have a few other guests from my communities to listen to their stories and hear what drives them and motivates them. If you think you'd like to share your story, if you're a fractional leader, if you're a digital nomad, if you're a solopreneur, please feel free to follow this podcast because I'm making this for you. Get into my DMs. Would love to talk to you and hear about what motivates you, what drives you, what your passions are, your mission is. And I hope to talk to you soon. Stay tuned.